Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do another energy reading, and I just kind of want to tune into what we need to know about the energy right now after the full moon. I don't know about you, but the full moon was this time. It was April 16th. Today's April 18th as I record this. It hit me really hard, and I think a lot of people are really feeling the intensity here as so much is shifting, and we are in a year 6 in numerology. A lot of love dynamics coming up, and I know for me personally, I have never had so many people in my life all at once going through so many interesting relationship shifts, whether that be breakups or union coming together, new relationships forming. It just feels like everywhere around me everything is just getting shaken up, which is just an interesting spot to be. I mean, I always have a bit of that around me anyway, but it's just everywhere, left and right. And the full moon in Libra, all about balance, all about, putting your bullshit aside and aligning with what you're here to do, coming back into balance, but a lot of union, a lot of relationship shifts. And, for those of you who are connecting with your soulmate, with your life partner, with your twin flame, I feel there was a really big energetic shift for both people. And it feels like, on one side, it was kind of this, I don't know, almost like the energy calmed down, where it was like, you know what, I know what I deserve, and I'm feeling like really anchored into myself. It just felt like this sense of peace all of a sudden. And on the other side, for the person who maybe was denying the connection, something shifted. Like something shifted where they're actually more open, the heart space opening up. So, I think it's a good reminder that there are always things at play that are bigger than our logical minds can understand. And that's kind of the beauty of letting things play out and just, watching the magic happen. And so what they're saying is, people are experiencing this differently, obviously. Collectively, they're kind of putting in two camps. So one group has really already felt the timeline shift, and a lot of really positive, amazing things have just dropped in recently because we closed up so many old cycles and so many old patterns. And with that closure, all of the manifestations can come in. And so it felt like this just huge shift for a lot of people who are already feeling it, especially between the conjunction and the full moon, where a lot of the intentions we set in the new moon were finally coming to completion. It just feels like this very distinct new chapter, new book, that kind of energy. And a lot of people, depending on where you're at, your contracts, your life path, already felt that shift, and you might just be riding high. Other people might be feeling like they're in the tower moment and everything's crumbling, but it's making the space for what you want to come in right now. But there was a shift with this full moon, and things are coming in. So they just keep saying big things are coming. So just collectively, let's just see a little bit of what they're saying. Oh, okay. Great. Okay. Yeah, we have a lot of love energy here. Okay, so Zodiac. Can I do one more Zodiac? Yeah, thank you. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so Zodiac, we have Gemini, the twins, partnership, Gemini, air, communication, expression. The card says communicative, mischievous, lively, witty, and informative. Stimulating exchange is possible, but this is all about intellect, mind. Geminis move quickly. We have different, it's kind of these different sides of us, right? But there's also that partnership energy, right? The twins coming together, the union, with the 7th house, which is all about long-term partnerships. So all about long-term relationships, your life partner, the person that you're going to marry, business partnerships that are going to be long-term, family, right? But 7th house is, marriage. And then we also have the 12th house card. This is the area of your life that is overwhelming. You yield to a greater cause or power. Brings you to your knees, because with that we have the Uranus card. Your potential for sudden change, enlightenment, and awakening. I mean, it's literally like Tower card, right? And then the last one I pulled was Virgo. Interesting. Dutiful, hesitant, and humble, with a discriminating, diligent, and painstaking air. You know, so it's interesting because, like, with this, what they're saying is just like, just keep on the path, and they just keep bringing it back to like inner peace within yourself, and like one day at a time, one step at a time, and like also allowing for all these larger universal energies to come in. Because when there's a Tower moment that hits, when you're brought to your knees, what like, these are the bigger forces at play, and that's actually what we're seeing happen in terms of relationship right now. And so there's a lot of like magical stuff happening. Like, the energy is very different. It feels like we're like, you know, moving beyond anything normal that makes sense in relationship. And that's where, you know, when you're really connecting with somebody who, it was 555 when I just looked at the timestamp. I just had to say that. But big change, big shifts happening. When we're really aligning with like truly soulmate level, vibrationally aligned people, you know, whatever form that is, the forces that come into play, like, it's not this logical thing. It's not this thing that makes sense. It's not, oh yeah, I've always known them, and so we're just going to get together. Like, and that's where a lot of relationships were at before. This is like a new age, you know, and really all we can tolerate are these relationships with depth. And that's also the other piece of, you know, the Gemini is like, there needs to be that stimulation, and noticing like, where are you bored in your life right now? And where do you find yourself bored in relationships, to be honest? Because like, the right person for you in whatever context, like, it should stay exciting. It should be stimulating, and you're being given the opportunity to step into that. But that means allowing the universe to bring that person to you, to bring these opportunities to you, and meeting people consciously, as like I always share, they're saying like, meeting consciously, because you never know who's going to just like walk into your life and totally disrupt it in a positive way. Or, you know, you might perceive it to be negative, but it's going to be the person you don't expect. You know, that's usually how it happens. And when there's somebody that you are meant to meet or meant to be with, there are these like larger forces at play that are going to support you in getting there. And so really allowing that to happen, because you can't plan the Tower moment. You can't plan, you know, it literally says you yield to a greater cause or power. And so can you like yield to that greater energy of divine love, right? And this is also where you, in your own way, they're saying of things that are either already in your field or trying to get into your field, and you're blocking them because you want it to make sense. Like, you want it to make sense, or you think that it should be delivered in a different way, right? And so it's like, just surrender to it. And on the other side of it, that's knowing, like, surrendering to, this isn't the right thing for me, right? And so on the other side of this, with these Tower moments, with these big shifts, it's a sudden disruption of like, holy shit, overnight, maybe this needs to be done, right? Or this needs a big change. And so it's more about like the energy of, what do I need, you know? And like really honoring like what I need on a soul level. And this is about, you know, getting your ego out of the way, but really honoring like, what do I need on a soul level, and surrendering to divine love for yourself with another person. And it feels like they keep saying it's going to shift some paradigms. Like, it's something that you didn't expect. It's in the way that you didn't expect. And I always talk to my friends about this. Like, I just have found in so many readings and working with so many people, so often it's the person that somebody didn't see coming, or they just came out of nowhere, or it's the person they didn't see coming because they were in their field the whole time and they just never thought about them that way, you know. And so it's usually this unexpected thing, because it's going beyond logic or what makes sense, but it's like you tune into your heart space and like, what are my emotions really guiding me to? So there's a big disruption, and if there's a sudden shift is now called a shut-in. A sudden shift in your relationship, like with a breakup or an ending, they just keep showing like something blows up, and that's creating space for what you want to come right in, because there's a lot just right, like it's right there, like your manifestations are right there, but we have to like surrender to be open to receiving them. And when we keep looking over here because we're trying to take action, the universe is like, oh my God, just like sit still, one day at a time, right? Show up for like you. And this is really what the Virgo card is about. It's like one day at a time of like living as the version of you that is your highest self, like living as your highest self, and starting to notice like the patterns that aren't serving you anymore, the behaviors that aren't serving you anymore, and really making sure that how you're living is matching up with the version of you that is your happiest self when you are in that relationship. And that's part of where the gap is right now. And so if you imagine your life with that person, and like, how do you think that you're going to show up at that point? Are you waiting to be in a relationship to then better yourself? Like, oh yeah, I'll stop doing this bullshit once I get in that relationship. That's not how it works. We have to do that first, you know? Or like, what are the things that you think you're going to get once you're in that relationship? I was thinking about this a lot myself, because I'm like, I need to start going on dates with myself again. All this fun stuff that I think I'm going to do with somebody, it's like I just need to do it with myself. Right? So things like that. Like, how do you think that you're going to show up differently, or what's going to change, and just do it now? But there is this like, it's the word. It's like cutting. It's like, that sounds negative. It's like a sharp, I don't even know. It's like a sharp pain in your body. That's the best. What is the word? It's like penetrating energy. There's like this penetrating energy, and that can go in a number of ways, right? This like intense, they just keep showing me like a sword going in. And that could be like the sudden emotions you're feeling about somebody positively, like, oh shit, like I just got knocked over because I feel so intensely around this person, because that intensity is really going to pick up, because the universe is like, get over here, like talk to this person. It can also be this sharp intensity of like, I can't be in this anymore. Like it just feels like it's gonna cut in really intensely, and that's part of the Tower moment. But it's like, I mean, think about that, like with the Tower energy, right? With sudden change, right? Sudden awakening, that can happen overnight. That can happen in an instant. That can happen with one look, with one glance. That can happen with one meeting. That can happen, you know, with one dream. And so sometimes we spend so much time, like we can forget that, and we feel like it has to be this whole process, when really there's this interplay between what we're doing on a daily basis and all the choices that we are making and the actions we're taking. But then also recognizing like something could drop in right now and shift everything. And so I don't really have to work hard for that moment to shift everything in a big way energetically. And it feel, you know, part of why they're saying this is like, if you've been feeling like something is coming, but it doesn't make logical sense for you, like, how am I going to get from here to there? Like, I want this, and it feels so far away. And so in my head, it feels like, well, it's going to take me forever to get from here to there. But it's like, no, because you can actually, like, the universe can come in and like, just like plop you over there, right? Or the universe can like pick it up and just drop it in immediately. And so get out of your own way with your logical mind around what makes sense, what doesn't. Oh, how many get, you don't have to figure out how, you just have to be open. You just have to be open. You have to take action in alignment with, in terms of like, how am I living that is a vibrational match for that person, and really being open to it coming in like out of the blue. And sometimes what happens is when we have these like disruptive shifts, we can push it away because it doesn't make sense. And there's something to just being open to that, and like surrendering to that process, and understanding, yeah, feelings can change in a second. They really can, which is, you know, I think empowering, and also it might feel scary, but it's just the way things go. And that with this Gemini thing, they're saying like, through a lot of these different relationships, you're going to realize that some of the things that you thought you valued in a relationship before, that's a lot of what's shifting. Like, you might have prioritized certain traits or qualities before that now you're realizing, as you really align more with your mission and understand yourself on a deeper level, you're realizing like, actually my priorities have shifted, and I actually kind of like, I want this more. Like, you're just realizing that like what you want is different, and it feels like we're going so far past this superficial layer, which is part of what this Tower energy brings in, like this sudden disruptive shift, because all of a sudden your feelings come in really intensely, right? And and you start to realize like, oh shit, how I feel in this situation like is so much more important than any of this superficial stuff or any of these things I thought I wanted on a list, right? It's like moving way beyond that, because when you actually feel how it feels to be in a soul aligned relationship, it's like, you know, it's like tasting king coffee. Once you drink it, you can't go back to normal coffee. You know what I'm saying? That's really how I feel. It's really how I feel. It's so good. Everything else just doesn't taste good to me. But, you know, so it's like this cutting, like, it's like a cutting in, it just comes in like a lightning bolt, shakes shit up, disrupts everything, right? And any house of cards just comes tumbling down, right? And then you just like see the light over here. So I love that. What else do you want us to say? So I'm just asking, you know, what do people need to focus on right now? It's like, know that the energy is already shifted and things are recalibrating energetically. So the physical is going to rearrange, and just know that it is going to come in, and like it's going to drop in divine timing and in a divine way where it's going to feel, you know, it's bigger than you, and it can happen instantaneously. And so your job is not to try and micromanage or figure that out. Your job is to like be ready and really kind of go inward and reflect on like, how am I showing up in my daily life, and is this how I want to be, who I want to be when that comes in, you know? So there's kind of like those two energies going on. But yeah, it's interesting. There's a lot of timeline hopping going on right now, and people's entire reality is like being shaken up. Like it just felt like going this way, and then sharp pivot. And with long-term relationships, people are really going to come together soon. It's just this month, it's like, you know, because they're saying, right, we have free will. And so there's going to be this divine thing that comes in, but then it's up to us to recognize it, first of all, right? Just to actually recognize it. I mean, there have been so many times in my life that I'm waiting, like I'll be honest, right? Like there's so many times when I want something, or I'm asking a question and I'm actually not fully energetically open to receiving the answer. And I've been getting that answer for so long and I'm in my own way. My mind is in my own way, but I've been getting the answer the whole time, you know, or like I'm not following the guidance. And so everything just stops. And so we have to actually like be open to receiving that and kind of surrender to it, even if it's something we don't expect or we don't necessarily like, and trusting our higher selves to be guiding us to what we really desire. But like it just feels like they're saying like April, May, June, July, over the next few months, things are going to come together, because both of you could get the inspiration or just know, and then it can take time for you to actually act on it. You know, sometimes people know and it takes them a couple months to actually initiate a breakup. Sometimes people know, but it takes them a couple months to actually pluck up the courage to express to somebody how they feel. And so how quickly it happens is going to be based on how willing you are to make a move. You know, and so you can, if you want it to take a few months and not really get wrapped up or completed or come together, and you're okay with that happening closer to June or July, then okay, let it ride out. But when you get the inspiration, if you actually want physical recalibration, like completely on both sides, faster, that's going to be on you to take action in alignment with that divine inspiration, that inner knowing, that soul knowing. And so that's part of where the timeline is a little like wonky, because they're saying it just depends on how willing are you to take action. Because they're like, we can drop in this intense energy, these feelings, these meetings, these synchronicities, all of the signs, this big shakeup, but then this is a co-creation, and so they can drop that in, and then if you're just sitting there complaining or what do I do, or just sitting with it and feeling it, and you know, it's totally fine to process, but you know, recognize like if you're wanting your partner to happen this month and you're having feelings about somebody and you're not like reaching out and trying to develop a relationship, then don't be surprised if it's going to take longer. You know what I'm saying? So we have to take the action in alignment with what's coming in. So it feels like good stuff is on its way, but so they're saying good stuff is on its way, but it's going to require bold moves. And you also are going to have to co-create and take initiative And can you trust that the pivot is actually just complete, like it feels like a complete pivot, and it is aligning you with how you really want to feel. But there's like an intensity of energy right now where we really have to be aligned with people who are resonant on a soul level. And so that can be a harsh reality to face, like where we're not, you know, but it's all very available. The full moon energy is so strong, and it just feels like, I don't know if, like, it's just, the energy feels like, I feel like I'm watching a movie and there's all these like crazy synchronicities happening. It's like, holy shit, is this real? That's the kind of energy right now. So exciting stuff. I would love to hear what's coming up for you, how you felt. I had a very interesting full moon, and it is all in divine timing as I'm working on my book. Right now I'm going to be writing later today as well, and it's all about love and relationships. So, you know, no coincidences here. If you haven't read my first book, Manifestation Mastery, get your hands on it. You can just search it on Amazon, because that is going to be the foundation for this next book on relationships, and it is juicy. It is juicy. All right, that is it for today's reading. Leave a comment below and let me know how this landed for you and what you felt recently. And be sure to hit the thumbs up button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell if you never want to miss a future video. And share this video with someone you love if you think that there's a message in here for them as well. I will see you in the next energy reading.